האורח שלנו הפעם הוא פסנתרן מסין, וואנג שאוהן, פוהן וואנג. ניהאו.
ניהאו.
שלום שאוהן.
שלום.
מה שלומך?
Good. Good.
You know, my impression was always that Chinese pianists, young pianists especially, they love Bach. They can play Rachmaninoff, Prokofiev, everything. But you love Bach.
Part of the reason that I love Bach, not only because that I studied in Germany for so many years, but also because that when I was very young, I had a very strong, let's say, German music education from my first teacher.
In Beijing?
In Beijing, already, when I was very, very young.
A German teacher in Beijing?
No, Chinese teacher.
Chinese
teacher who loved especially German music very much.
Okay.
And her son is a kind of hi-fi, music lover.
I know her. Is
Jin Aiping.
Okay.
Yes. So when I was very young, I came to her for a lesson. Part of the lesson for teaching how to play the piano, the rest of the time is only about listening music. Every time she will push me to listen to any kind of music for more than an hour, 2 hours.
What a teacher! She was with you, listening with you.
Yes,
to music, recorded music, together.
And not only listening, but during the time she was explaining to me, and sometimes even ask me, oh, what do you think about this? Because sometimes what we did is, for example, Goldberg variations, she can give me 3 or 4 versions and then ask me how do I like it. So I was trained when I was very young. I started this kind of lesson when I was like 11 or 12.
And this was individual lesson or a group of children?
No. Only individual.
Your lesson?
Yeah, only for myself.
So first you play with your fingers and then you sit and you listen with her for hours?
Yeah, well, even sometimes more.
What a teacher.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
She deserved gold medal.
Yeah, I was very lucky in that sense, yes.
And she introduced Bach to you?
Yes, exactly. It's everything from her. But of course, you know, when we were really young in China, we have to study prelude and fugue. This is a must. Everybody. Before they go to the school, they have to learn it.
But you know, it's very dangerous. You have to study it, then it becomes, you know, a learning material and not artistic material.
Yeah, but we do it.
But you loved it.
I loved it very, very much, yes. But I'm sure that if she didn't give me such a strong impression for music, maybe I would not love this prelude and fugue so much from the beginning.
We have a small surprise for you. Second movement of Bach concerto for 2 pianos, and one of the 2 pianists with Israel Philharmonic Orchestra, guess who is he?
Me.
Okay. Thank you, Xiaohan. That was so spiritual. Well, unbelievable. I'm holding the famous picture of Bach, the Hausmann picture.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, what is the expression of Bach? What do you think? What do you feel is the painter trying to tell us about Bach?
Well, the first impression when I look at this picture is like father-like.
Yeah. The father of music.
A lot of love.
Father
Even
of
not
music.
only for music, as a human, just a human love as a father.
But on the other hand, is a kind of scrutinizing. It's very...
And also very, very serious.
Yeah,
Very serious.
yeah.
Very serious.
Very, very...
More than serious.
Yeah, more than serious.
Yes, yeah, that was my impression.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said father, because he's really the father of his many children, those who died, those who survived, and the father of our music, of Western civilization.
Exactly.
He's holding in his hands a little note, a little settle, and he took care that on this note there are musical notes written. Do you know what are these notes?
I think it's from the Goldberg variations, because this also part. I think it's a message. It's a message that maybe he wants to somehow tell us how important is this composition for him.
Yeah, this was the official painting of Bach. Actually, the only one which is dated with a painter, that we know that this is a painter who painted Bach during his lifetime, with a date, everything. And here in this painting, Bach is holding this Goldberg variation bass line, this Why do you think he did so?
As I said, I think this is a message. I think it's extremely important composition for him, for himself.
Why this composition is so important? Tell us a little bit about this composition.
I grown up with this composition, not to talk about the knowledge, how much I know about this composition, but the most important thing, emotionally and musically, I grown up with it, because I still remember the first piece. I still remember it when I recorded it. The first piece I had from this music lesson from her is Goldberg Variations. From the first recording from Glenn Gould.
Yeah, let me just mention that this is the longest keyboard composition by Bach.
Yeah.
It is a set of variations. How many?
32.
32 variations on a theme, and we would like now to put on the screen your performance of the first half, just the first half of this theme. Let's talk a little bit about the history of this composition. So there was the Russian ambassador by the name of Kaiserling, and he wanted Mr. Goldberg, who was a young student of Bach, to play it for him because he could not sleep at night. This was the story.
Yes.
So he wanted something very soft, very tender, and very long.
Yeah,
How long is the composition?
Well, if with every repeat, it will take 1 hour and a half, maybe.
Yeah, it's normally a kind of a problem of programming for a pianist.
Exactly.
What shall I do? Shall I play the whole evening, only Goldberg variations? What are you doing?
Well, it depends whether if you play the repeat or not. If you don't play the repeat and you plan as what you wanted, it can be a lot of varieties. It can be 50 minutes, it can be an hour.
So let's assume that Mr. Goldberg, young Mr. Goldberg, the pupil of Bach, was playing it for Kaiserling into the night, very softly, played the theme, dreaming, spiritual. But this piece is not only spiritual and dreaming.
It's actually very dramatic also.
And a lot of action.
Yes, yes. A lot of energy also.
Yeah. I would like us now to watch one variation which is fast, brilliant, and the action is always like this, and you will explain to us later on why.
Yeah.
Why so many crossings. That was so cute and so smart. Tell me, what's going on? Why so much action?
Because the cembalo is played on the two keyboards.
Yeah. So you can just move your hands like this.
Yes, exactly.
But
But on the piano today...
when you play it on the piano, the two hands meet each other?
It's very, very...
This is very typical to the Goldberg variation. It's a long piece,
Yes.
and there is a lot of virtuosity in it.
Exactly.
There is a lot of knowledge, but this is actually an encyclopedia, isn't it?
Yeah, but you know, part of that, I wonder how they played for Mr. Goldberg. Maybe they play all the fast part a little slower.
Yeah, and on the other hand, actually all the knowledge of the Baroque time, each variation represents one trend, one aspect,
Yes.
one dance, one concept. This, as I said, is the encyclopedia of the Baroque.
Exactly.
And this variation was an example of virtuosity. Maybe Bach was envious. He heard some Scarlatti music and he wanted to show. He
Can be.
Yeah. Actually, the Goldberg variation is a set of canon, systematically.
9 of them, yes.
9 canons systematically. And a canon is a very strict discipline because the same melody must be repeated in the other voice. Yet Bach succeeds to write it in such a freedom that you don't even realize that this is a canon.
Yeah, it's just a genius in this way.
The next variation is a very strict canon, but for the listener is just a wonderful dance. So, Xiaohan, this is a very strict canon on the same base of the theme, a big discipline, yet you play it like a dance.
Yeah, it's a very, very special canon for me, because I feel it, always I feel it a little sad when I played it. It's somehow, deeply inside, I feel this is the last dance with tears.
It's still gentle and kind and smiling, but sadness.
Smiling with tears, maybe.
And smiling with tears, because the next variation is going to be the variation of the tears. You remember the nickname Wanda Landowska gave to the forthcoming variation, the G minor one?
Remind me?
The Black Pearl.
Black Pearl. Wow.
The Black Pearl. This is maybe the most sad piece of music that I know from Bach. And most daring, and avant-garde, and modern, unbelievable. Xiaohan, this variation is like conversation with myself or conversation with God. Heart-touching. And yet the next variation, what is it?
Quodlibet.
Quodlibet. And he takes very, very common songs.
Yeah, it's actually a kind of a bit stupid German folk stance.
Yeah,
kind of.
the lyrics, so to speak, are Kraut und Rüben haben mich vertrieben. That to say that I had too much to eat this cabbage and so on, and then I had to leave home. And why do you think he did so after this serious music?
You know,
why the last variation must be so stupid, so to speak?
Maybe after all, the humans are stupid. This is the reality. This is the truth. I mean, after all, this is everything come back to actually what he is. So.
And maybe it's like a Jewish wisdom of Kohelet that everything is just vanity. You pretend you have conversation with God, and actually you talk about the cabbage and the soup that your mom cooked badly, and then you had to leave home and to go far away.
Just about life.
Yeah.
Just
Or
about
maybe
right.
about the Goldberg variation also, that he said, I had to go far away. I went too far away from the theme. And now it's a time to return.
Yeah.
And what does he do at the end of these variations? Is just play again.
And I always feel that when I play until this variations, I feel like, oh, here I am. I'm coming home.
Yeah, yeah. So after the Quodlibet, again the theme to show us.
It's more
where from-
dreamy. It's
yeah,
more dreamy
yeah.
when it
Let's
comes.
hear the Quodlibet with all these funny songs. Dee 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 da 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 dum, and then dee da dum. Typical peasants'
Yeah, yeah.
German songs. Xiaohan, that was wonderful.
Thank you.
But we shall not let you go home without playing for us something here in the studio, maybe in the same key of the Goldberg in G major. Have you got something?
Yes, I'll play arrangement by Maya Hess from the Bach cantata.
All right. The piano is all yours.
Okay.
וריאציות גולדברג היא ללא ספק היצירה הארוכה ביותר, המקיפה ביותר, המושלמת ביותר לכלי מקלדת של באך. כל הסופרלטיבים קטנים עליה, סיכום תקופה. אבל בעמוד האחרון, לפני 25 שנה, מישהו גילה בכתב היד שבאך כתב עוד 14 קנונים. למה 14? נחשו, B, A, C, H זה 14 בסך הכל. ובכן, תם ולא נשלם. המשחק מתחיל רק עכשיו. והרבה תודה לשיאוהן שניגן את וריאציות גולדברג והיצירות האחרות הבאכיות כל כך יפה, כל כך עמוק. תודה רבה. ששה.